things nerds, music, horror movies, pro wrestling, video games, anything nerds would like.
Once again, back with another Nerds podcast. Today, I have a reoccurring guest that I'm really happy to have on here. A very talented performer. I'm just really excited to have this person on again. Noah, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for that introduction.
Cool. Now, I have to say, the last time I had you on, it was really, really eye-opening. I learned a lot of stuff, and that's the stuff you told me stuck with me so long. I couldn't wait to have you on again. And the fact that you're also a comic book fan, it makes it even more fun to have you on. Just alone the stuff you told me before was like, it's weird to be like completely in the dark of stuff. You don't know anything, and someone tells you something. It's like, dude, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I feel... Go ahead.
Yeah, no one hears of drag queens having, full rooms of comic book, shit. Because I've loved comics since I was a kid. I mean, I always knew I was gay and always, I like the feminine stuff.
Yeah.
I am serious. I know how to shoot a gun. I like shooting guns. I like comics. I like cars. I love all that cool stuff, too. Honestly, I feel like I'm really here just to experience life, so it's almost like, I love a lot of aspects of masculinity, but I also love all aspects of femininity, and there's so many barriers that it's just like, fuck it, I break them all.
That is amazing. That is because I think for the longest time, and even I'm bad at this too, is a misconception about what a nerd fan is. There's a misconception. People, if you say you're a nerd fan, people roll their eyes as if it's some kind of disease or something like that. It's like, dude, you're a nerd too. Because a nerd, to me, the definition of a nerd is not necessarily like a comic fan. It's if someone says, well, I'm a big fan of LeBron James and I know all his stats and stuff and I know what he was going to school, it's like, dude, you just told me a grown man that you have never met, that you probably never ever meet, and you knew where he went to school at. You know where he played in high school. You know where he played in college. You know his stats from the first time he gone into the court to now. How is that not a nerd?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, God, if I am the biggest nerd, for God's sakes, I cosplay, and that's the farthest you can go.
Mm-hmm.
You are now that person, and I do anime characters, which
that
is
awesome.
risky.
It is awesome. When I saw you dressed as Harley Quinn, I was trying to the message, I didn't know how to say it because I'm very bad at spelling, but I was going to say since you're a comic book fan, I was suggesting maybe what you would do, I would like to see you get dressed up as not Psylocke, but what is her name? She was she played a villain in X-Men. She was basically all purple or blue. It's embarrassing.
Oh my God! Wait, the shapeshifter?
Yeah.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. I've thought about it, but you know what? With her, it's really hard because she's just a body.
Yeah, pretty much.
And creating that body, even doing just drag body, it's so difficult. So, I mean, it could be a challenge that I work on later, because I am working on a Catwoman right now.
Oh, yeah? That's cool.
I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want that. I have everything to do it and make it. I actually bought these rings that are the nails that she had, that scratch people on the gloves, but they're stone nails, and I always like to drag it up.
Yeah.
So with Harley Quinn and stuff, my Harley Quinn was an homage to the Arkham Knight game, because it's one of my
pretty
favorites,
cool. I like that.
That's what I did.
That's nice, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I made a bat from it, too. I have props and stuff.
Okay.
Because I was going to use it for a performance that never happened because of COVID.
Yeah.
But, so with that, Harley Quinn doesn't have, thigh-high boots and fishnets.
No.
In Arkham Knight, but I did it myself, and I made it a little skimpier and just,
That's cool.
So I always try to, put my own, taste of it into it.
It's a good look. I like it. It looked good. I liked it. Now, it's funny. This has nothing to do with the conversation, but since I was mentioning Harley Quinn, this still stuck with me because I thought it was funny. I remember going because we have a thing called Magic City, and it only comes every once in a while during like Halloween. It opens up and all the little gadgets or whatever. And I always want a costume like, and not for Halloween. Like if I could socially get away with wearing a costume every day, I would. I would be dressed up as Green Arrow every day. If I can socially acceptably get away without people saying, "You look crazy." But back to what I was saying. There was a young lady was in the Magic City place, and they had the Harley Quinn outfits. And I remember the young girl was talking to her mom or dad. Clearly, that must have been it might have been her dad. And I remember her dad said no circumstance because the Harley Quinn outfit, the one they had, was just basic panties and like a t-shirt. So yeah. I kind of understand why he kind of flipped out because I think she was like 14 or 15. Can I wear this? Oh, I don't think so. It just made me laugh.
Yeah, she should not be wearing that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can do Harley Quinn without being skimpy.
Yeah.
Like, because she has looks where she's a person, and
yeah.
she's not, like, supposed to be, like, sexualized.
No, she's not. And she's not really a character. It's only certain depictions of sexualized, but she's far from it. She's very funny. Whoever plays her is pretty funny. And she has that, I'm trying to think. She has that wise guy's girlfriend personality, but a little more mentally ill. If that makes sense. Because you can hear her going like, Christopher Montesanti, I love you. What a great guy. That voice on a crazy person.
It's a psychotic voice. It's how she manipulates people.
I love that character.
So Margot Robbie, they could have not picked a better person to play Harley Quinn.
They could
she
not.
did it phenomenally.
Yes.
And she really captures the how a psychopath talks.
Yes.
Because I have been a manipulative person in my past, and I know manipulative people in my just my personal life. So I know that how that talking is. And she just gets it perfectly, but she's also a nut, so she got that down too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hey, who was your favorite Catwoman if you had to pick one?
Like actor
who played Catwoman. Yeah, actress from the Julie Newmar to now. Who do you think you love?
Oh fuck! Oh my god! Because I love Eartha Kitt.
She's beautiful.
She did Catwoman so well.
Yeah.
In the 60s. That was great. I can't pick because I love
I know
Michelle
it's hard
Pfeiffer.
to. That's kind of a hard choice.
Can we pick the worst one?
Yeah, pick the worst one. That's easier.
That fucking one from, oh my god, what was her name? From 2004 or some?
Oh, you talking about Catwoman the movie?
Mm-hmm.
That was Halle Berry. Halle Berry.
That was
sad.
Did terrible.
That was sad.
It was terrible because, it was basically made to just appeal to men and, they're like, oh, here's a sexy woman.
Yeah, it was goofy as hell.
Doing moves. It was so dumb. I was like, oh my god, why didn't you just get Michelle Pfeiffer and tell the story of Catwoman?
The problem with Catwoman in and of itself, it doesn't warrant a single movie. It only works unless she has an antagonist like Batman or someone. By itself, it doesn't warrant it, and the person who wrote it needs to be slapped in the face because that was the goofiest movie.
Catwoman, and Catwoman's story now, when they did Gotham, that should have been the movie.
Yes, amazing.
I wish that was the movie. How they did the Joker. Oh my god.
Yes.
We already know how good the Joker movie is, so I'm not going to go into it.
No, and I think it's a genius movie, and I have a love-hate. I'm gonna say it real quick. I have a love-hate, and what I love about it because it's such a genius way depiction of mental illness. But the thing I don't like is I don't want to feel remorse for the Joker. I always want to look at him as a monster. I never wanted to see him as human, and I still love the movie. but it makes me think of the comic book Killing Joke, and I never liked that comic book because I didn't want him to be human. Everyone else in Batman's lore of villains are all victims of circumstance. They're tragic figures that become monsters. The Joker was never a tragic figure. He was just pure evil. It's my own opinion, though.
He was born to be evil.
Yeah. And I love Joaquin Phoenix for character.
But the thing that sucks is, like, you know, I mean, I know he's a character, but, like, he is human.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to say.
Yeah. and I like it. And even his relationship with Harley Quinn is not a healthy one. He really treats her like garbage.
Yeah, no. No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, what was I going to say? Because I was thinking about, like, serious movies like that. Because, like, I wish they would have done that with, like, Catwoman, too, because they would have been great. Oh, the Joker movie.
Yeah.
I remember I couldn't watch it for a while because it depicted mental illness so perfectly.
Yes.
That it triggered me.
I understand.
And I remember watching it and being like, fuck, I can't.
I know.
I mean, I got through it later on.
Yeah.
But I was like,
I understand.
God, but
I understand.
The hell?
It is the perfect movie. To me, it's like combination. It's like Taxi Driver, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and The King of Comedy. And Taxi Driver because the city is torn in darkness and just pure hatred and it's evil. The part of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is basically because at any time, if the state had bothered to do their job, he could have got the medication. He would have been fine. His mom should have been in a facility because they're two mentally ill people should not be taking care of each other. And like King of Comedy is basically a movie that Robert De Niro was in where he played this desperate comic who's wanted to meet his idol, Jerry Lewis, who was this big talk show host that he wanted to emulate. So if you combine all those two, that's what the movie is. It's genius.
Yeah, I had a lot of like hidden messages and stuff, and I remember like everyone felt the same way, but like when the photos dropped of what the Joker looked like, we were like, what?
Yeah.
But then everyone, like when we watched it, we understood it because it was more of like it was telling the story, but it was in a different art style.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that though.
Yeah, that was more unique, and I liked how they did it.
They took it further than the Dark Knight took their story because for the longest time, most comic book movies, as great as they are, they're always one-dimensional because you're aware if you're watching a comic book movie. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a knock. But when you see a movie like The Dark Knight, and I'm saying Batman Begins, when there's one honest portrayal moment where Bruce Wayne was going to kill the assailant that killed his mom and dad. And he had a gun. He was going to put a bullet in one. And that's like the honest portrayal of how people suffer. And he's wanted to do this for his entire life. And like the movies come off the page where it's like, this is how Batman's supposed to be portrayed. This is the closest to Batman. And I thought that was genius.
Yeah. I did too.
But yeah. Now, do you remember your first like comic books you read as a kid that you enjoyed reading? And I mean, it's like a long time ago, so.
Adventure Time comics.
Oh yeah?
Genuinely, like I remember I went to there's a comic book store by my house, and they've been running for a while, and we went on Free Comic Book Day when I was like, I don't know, I think I was 9.
Okay.
And I got like a One Punch Man comic, I got an Adventure Time comic, and then I just got like a Batman comic. And that's when I started collecting them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started getting like the old ones.
Okay.
And then I started getting like the expensive ones. And then that's where like the collections just started getting bigger. Because I think my oldest comic I have is from 1953.
What issue is that?
And it's a limited edition Batman comic with 88 pages, and it's like a bunch of, it's like almost like a series finale part where like something big happens.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
But it was when, like, comics were super childish because of that law about, like, you know...
The what's the name? The comic book rule, the goofy rule. That was some horseshit.
Yeah, that made them all like, ha ha, funny.
Yeah. It was a comic book rule they had to make up because this Freudian wannabe guy said that, what did he say? He said Batman and Robin were in a gay relationship. He said Superman had a god complex. And then I think he referred to as Wonder Woman being a dominatrix, which I'm like, in the 50s? What is you smoking? Like, what are you smoking?
Probably smoking what the other guy was in the 60s.
I'm like, dude. Like, first of all, I mean, I don't see that now, but if you saw that then, that means, he had some deviant thoughts in his mind. He thought, you know what, I'd like to see Batman and Robin have sex. Because I wouldn't even put that together.
Weird for that.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Did you ever watch the old? Well, I mean, that's a dumb question. I mean, of course you watched the old Batman because you just referenced Eartha Kitt.
The '60s Batman.
Did you ever watch the '30s? It was a one previous to that. It was a black and white. It was
like the two movies.
It was a black and white Batman.
Yeah. So, okay, the history behind those, one was made in 47, the other was made in 53.
Okay.
One was just a Batman, no, they were both Batman and Robin movies. Yeah, no, I actually did watch them because I was just interested. I was like, this is so bad, let's watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were.
Yeah, they were.
But it was just weird to see that because, I mean, like, they're just so old.
Yeah, and it's old, but it's also blatantly racist. Like, I saw the Evil Chinese. Yeah. That was still makes me laugh.
I remember seeing it and being like, what the fuck's going on?
That's when you could be blatantly racist and no one would even question it. I just remember the Evil Chinese, and it was like this guy coming out with this I don't know what the hell he's wearing. Always weird outfits, weird colorful outfit. I remember they said the Evil Chinese. I said, damn, I know this old as shit because I can't believe I'm doing that now.
That would not get by. No. So like one of my favorite movies of all time, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I'm glad you said that.
If you cut out the like 4 minutes of the racist, white guy Japanese person, it's a fabulous movie.
Yeah.
And then, that guy comes in who lives upstairs, and I'm like, wow.
Why did he need that?
Why did we... I don't... Well, because here's the thing. Breakfast at Tiffany's, in my opinion, is already a hard enough movie to understand because how Audrey Hepburn, like, how they scripted the movie is really weird.
Mm-hmm. They
make Audrey Hepburn look so dumb, and the guy's so confused. So I remember the first time watching it as a kid, like 13 years old, I did not understand what the hell happened. And then I only recently watching it again because I had to, like, understand dumb.
Yeah.
I got it. And then, I would just skip past the racist parts because those were uncomfortable to watch.
I saw that movie, not fully. The only scene I saw in that movie was that scene. I said, this is the greatest, like, romantic comedy. All I see is that, and maybe mine's kind of like biased. I should sit down and watch the movie at least one time. At least I can say I watched it as opposed to just judging on that one scene.
It's a great movie. It deserves the love, except that 4 minutes.
Yeah. There's movies out there that have problematic things in it. And, like, even though it was like, I'm a child of the 80s, and a lot of movies in the 80s don't age well. And I'm not saying this because I'm a prude and I'm offended.
Oh, no.
I'm not offended.
A lot of them are very sexist and very racist.
Yeah, and they're blatantly, and sometimes I feel like I'm ignorant to that because I'm not aware of, even though it's the 80s, it's not that far from when from like 60s, like late 60s, early 70s. So that stuff bled into there, and it never was addressed. So you'll have a movie like Soul Man. Did you ever heard of that movie? Have you ever seen it? I know it's old as hell.
No.
Right? Well, let me give you a rundown, and this is a real movie. This movie came out in 80-something. Now, you wouldn't believe this. Okay, the actor's name is C. Thomas Howell. He was part of Brat Pack. Well, okay, this movie's about a white kid who basically got, got into Harvard, but his dad, who's a rich dude, would not pay for it. So this is how he got into Harvard. He got some tanning pills, which I didn't know tanning pills did this. They made him really, really dark. He had a Jerry Curl looking fro looking thing, and he went under the affirmative action to get himself into college. That was a movie in the 80s called Soul Man.
Oh, here it is.
Yep, you see it. That's a movie that came out when I was a kid.
Holy fucking shit. Oh my god.
Exactly. Yeah. That came out in the 80s. I saw that movie several times. I have it in my DVD collection right now. And as I get older, I look back and said, there's so many problematic things in that movie that almost to the point it's not even worth mentioning it. But there were so many racial jokes at his expense. So many racial stereotypes at his expense. To the point it's like, why? Was someone doing cocaine when this movie got made? Because I hope so. I hope someone was high.
I really hate it. Okay, I'm looking. One of the flyers for it says, "Guess who's coming to college?" And all in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, a racist.
Oh,
1986.
Man. Yeah, I was 12, so I was old enough to actually retain the information. And there was so many stereotypes in this movie. It's just insane. And there's another movie that's just as bad, but it's under the blanket of kind of like an E.T. movie. It's a movie called Short Circuit. And then that movie is about a robot becomes sentient. He becomes alive. Electrical current makes him alive. It's a beautiful movie. It's a very heartfelt movie. But in the movie, Fisher Stevens, which I didn't even know until I was a grown man recently, he was not Indian. He's clearly not Indian. But they browned his face. I did not know he was Indian until I was a grown man. For years, I thought he was Indian. That movie came out in the 80s. Short Circuit. They never brought it up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's like that just proves that, racism didn't end 20 years before that.
No.
With the civil rights movement. No.
It wouldn't
blackface, have. And blackface still happens. Even today, it's just, not in, movie and film as much. I mean, it's been declining, but there are some recent things. But I'm talking about, on social media.
Yeah, I don't get that. For
God's sake, let's start with, Nikita Dragon or Trisha Paytas or, these big celebrities who,
I don't get
did they pick the wrong foundation shade or,
I don't know.
Something wasn't just a mistake.
I don't understand why that's comes back. I don't understand. But then the thing about this, about racism, it was never addressed. That's the thing. 1965, that's 7 years or whatever. I'm gonna say 7 or 8 years, before I was born. And in 1965, it's not as if everyone's going to be on board with everyone getting integrated. There's a lot of people who have a lot of resentment. That stays forever. I mean, it still exists because a lot of people don't address it. And that's why, I would say, even same thing is homophobia or transphobia, which I didn't even know anything about trans people. I actually thought that a transsexual, I didn't even know what any of those words meant. I thought that a person who dressed up as a woman was the same thing as someone who was transitioning into a woman. I had no idea. I had nothing. I had no concept of it. That's why when my brother told me, I can say my sister, when she told me that she was transitioning, it sounded like gibberish words. I wasn't even mad. I was more freaked out because I don't even know what he's saying right now. But I was like, I didn't know, because a lot of stuff, on television, there was a lot of transgender people on television where they were used as comical, jokes.
Uh-huh.
In the 80s, specifically in the 80s, there's a movie called, Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. And there's a scene where a guy, who's hooked up with this beautiful woman, and he's having sex with her, and he comes out, and then like he goes, "Man, I found the perfect woman. We gonna get married. We gonna have kids." I'm like, man, after having a pussy for one time, really? And then she walks out, and then she comes in the bathroom, and she like takes a leak standing up, and then she says something like in a deep voice, I also do parties and whatever, and he's like freaking out. But that was the joke in the '80s. The guy getting tricked by the man in drag, or the man, it's always a trick. Like, I fooled you. I'm really a dude. Like,
what's sad is like, okay, that's how trans women would get murdered.
I know, it sucks.
Is by, like, because, they can't make money, they can't get a fucking job, so the best that they do is, prostitution.
Yeah.
Sex work. And a lot of them get murdered because they figure out that they're trans.
And they freak out.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, I don't understand it. I don't understand why we freak out.
Yeah,
I guess it's tampering with their, like, men's masculinity.
That's it. Your faith will catch you being gay. The fear.
But, like, no. Why? Okay. This just proves more that everybody knows there's a problem with how gay people are being treated, because if straight men are so scared of being gay,
yeah,
they wouldn't be if gay people didn't have problems.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I gotta keep this masculinity. Bullshit. Yeah. There's something wrong with the gay community and the queer community. And that's the same thing that I say about, like, okay, example, like, you're in high school and you're on you're in gym class, and the guys don't want you changing with them because you're gay.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get touched. Implying that they know that it is a regular thing for men to, whatever they're attracted to sexually assault, like sexually harass people.
Yeah.
Basically implying that they know that it's a problem for men sexually harassing women just on the whim.
Exactly.
There was a statistic that said 97% of women in America reported being sexually harassed in some way.
Yep.
Assaulted or harassed.
Mm-hmm.
We know, and I know it's not all women, and that's been such a debate topic on Twitter, and I'm like, why? We should just be focusing on the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That these men need to be educated and stopped no matter what, period.
Yes.
And they need to learn to have some more fucking respect for other people.
Show boundaries. People don't know boundaries.
Like, that's why I make it perfectly clear. If you touch me or talk down to me, I'll break your fucking hands.
Awesome. You should.
I make that clear as crystal, because I deal with so many weird guys on Messenger and Facebook and any social media app. So gross. That's why I'm never active on Facebook.
I understand.
That's why I feel bad messaging people. I'm like, please just text me if you have something, because I mute Messenger. It's just constant guys being like, you're pretty, and it's weird, they want that drag queen fantasy, and I'm like, ugh, no.
See, I don't understand that. And it's weird. I think, honestly, I think a lot of people, and it sounds mean because I don't know how to say it the right way, I think the reason why they're in trouble in the bathroom because they're afraid. The fear is they might get turned on. The fear is someone might see them next to someone or may think they're gay. And it's always an uncomfortable thing that the association with someone else accusing you of something. First of all, why do you care? Second of all, what does that mean anything? Because if you are, oh well, let it go. If you're not, it's not a big deal. But I think, and I'm bad about this because I used to be really uncomfortable. But I think my insecurity came from something from an early age. And I can tell you this because I don't feel bad. I can tell you I was molested as a kid. And I don't feel bad because it happened as a kid. But I think a lot of that affected me as an adult. To this day, I have a lot of insecurities that I have never addressed.
Yeah. And see, it's terrible because, like, that's not what the community is at all. That is the fucking evil side of it.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because it's like, you know, no one wants to be represented like that. And it's like, if you're such a sensitive community, because for God forbid, if you're not white, straight, and cis and rich, then you have problems.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it's really, like, one bad person ruins it for everyone else.
Yeah,
and I'll
much.
give a great example. When 9/11 happened, everyone thought that every Muslim was a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
Or when COVID happened, every Asian, you know,
Someone has to take the
had
blame.
coronavirus.
Exactly.
It's just like if one person or one simple thing happens, it's ruined for everyone.
They have to take blame.
When are we going to address when, you know, white people taking people's land? When are we going to look at white people like the evil one?
Yeah. I don't think it's ever, I think it's uncomfortable. Anything that's uncomfortable never be addressed. And like, I would say, like, this is the perfect one. So you said that. This is nonsense, but like, did you ever keep up with the Meghan Markle and the whole thing about the royal family and how she said that
I saw the Oprah interview.
Yeah, and Piers Morgan, who's a gigantic like asshole, pompous prick, he's also self-righteous, and I think Meghan Markle must have hurt his feelings one time because he had a hard-on about her talking all kinds of stuff. Now, he's on his goofy news, whatever, and there's another black dude on there who's like the weatherman, and they're having a cordial conversation. They're calm. But, you know, Piers Morgan didn't like what the man was saying and stormed off like a little child through a hissy fit. And he was saying something like, there's no way in the world the royal family could ever be racist. I'm like, what are you smoking? First of all, the British colonies colonized Africa, India, Asia. There are places that speak a British accent who are not even from Britain. What kind of crackhead nonsense? I want to smack the shit out of him that day. Ooh, I wanted to hit him that day so hard.
See, I feel like it's clear that it wasn't the Queen, but everyone says it was his brother, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
Because the Queen, like, I don't know who, but, like, news networks and shit proved that, like, the Queen isn't a racist.
Yeah.
But everyone was thinking it was his brother, and I'm like, honestly, with that hair, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got none.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, you shouldn't be surprised that came out. That should be like, oh, that's a given. Well, because this family has enclosed family of just bougie on top of bougie. So it's not surprisingly that if they saw, and Meghan Markle is not a dark-skinned person. She's lightly complected person. She's mixed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. But the fact that the fear of any darkness that could touch their bloodline just horrified them, and I can see someone going, excuse me, madam, did any of your children on your mother's side darker than you? I can see someone saying that.
No, it's crazy because, you know, the royal family has been around for, like, honestly, like,
forever.
1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
There has never been, I mean, I understand, you know, it's the European, it's mostly white people. But, God, I mean, they're now only having someone who is a person of color even near Parliament.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. And, like, I'm not upset because we in America had the same goofy-ass rules for a long time. The thing was called, in Virginia particularly, is called the one-drop rule, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The fact that actually was in law books, saying that if a person could be blonde hair and blue eyes, whiter than white, if their great-great-grandfather, grandmother was black, they're black. And say, what are you smoking right now? The fact that existed is comical in Virginia. I'm from Virginia, and that's where stupidity meets law. Like, oh my God. So I'm not surprised. I'm not upset about that. I mean, but anyway, I want to get back to comic books. What was the what? Did you watch the Justice League movie? The newest one.
Yeah.
What'd you think about it? Like, your honest opinion. Did you like it or dislike it?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, like, to me, it wasn't like something like, Avenger level spectacular, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah. It was a good one. In all honesty, I feel like it's a little too late to do this. They should have been doing this 10 years ago.
Yeah,
they dropped the ball.
Honestly, I like seeing the live action stuff anyways.
Yeah.
So either way, I mean, I was going to watch it.
Yeah.
But, I'll say this, I'll never agree when people were, being like, oh, Suicide Squad's bad. I thought Suicide Squad was one of the best movies.
It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't. It wasn't. I'm not gonna say I didn't like the plot as much. I thought they could have done more. And there's a version that they actually gonna shoot, but I didn't have a problem with the movie. I thought it was great. I like Joker.
Another one.
What's that?
They're making another one, but it's more like comic book.
Yeah.
Like to the comic book. Like they're literally having Polka Dot Man and shit.
Yeah.
How much should they pay John Cena to play a superhero that's based off of a polka dot?
That's pretty funny.
It is hilarious. Harley Quinn looks great. She's in red and black this time.
Oh, I like it.
I'm so excited.
It is awesome. I think they're trying to do more with it, but my gripe with DC, I feel like they've been procrastinating so long because they should have been doing everything. Because none of this matters because nothing is connected. Like Marvel's doing for 10 years since Iron Man. So by the time the what's the name came out, it mattered. Everything mattered. That's what I like about DC. It doesn't matter. Like I'm a big fan. I'm a bigger fan of DC than Marvel because I'm a huge Batman fan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really 50-50, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, I do love DC, but Marvel has some good stuff. And I love Deadpool and Spider-Man. And
oh, yeah, that's the shit right there. That is cool.
But also I love DC for, the Batman movies. Those are good. And, Superman.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
What is the as Batman go, and this is gonna be a hard question to answer too. So, who do you think portrayed Batman better? I'm gonna say it like that, even though that's kind of hard to say too, because I don't.
I'm trying to think of someone who changed the role for me, because if I'm being I thought Christian Bale did really good, but I'm not a fan of the voice.
Yeah.
I don't like the voice.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone, probably Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that's the original. That's gonna be my childhood Batman forever.
That was the one that really changed it for everyone, and that was the Batman people have been wanting to see. The scary, the dark, the mysterious, not the goofy haha that Adam West was. I mean, I love Adam West.
I do too.
He did a great Batman portrayal.
I love it too.
I get more excitement out of watching, Batman and Batman Returns.
Oh yeah, definitely. He will be always, because I was in 9th grade. Well, actually no, I was 14, turning 15 during the summer when that came out. And that will be forever be my Batman, regardless of whoever plays him. So, I'm down with that. I like I think even though they give him shit for being Batman, I think Ben Affleck looks like Batman more than anyone else does. His portrayal, not his acting, but the way he dressed, the costume, the outfit. He looked closer to a Dark Knight, the comic book Superman. He looked like him. The Frank Miller version.
And I don't think his acting, I don't think him as Batman was bad either.
No, he gets a lot of shit for that, and I don't understand why.
I am really excited for the new one, though. it seems like it's about to be gory and bloody, and I'm excited.
I think it'll be a good one. I'm biased because I'm not a big fan of Robert Pattinson, and I don't dislike him. It's not like I dislike him. He's never done anything that of any significance where I thought he was a good actor, and it's the only thing I have like is it's bothersome, but I shouldn't be too negative because it's not fair because they did the same thing with Ben Affleck, so I shouldn't be too biased. Ben Affleck got a lot of shit for playing Batman, so I should at least let it play before I judge it too much.
Yeah, and I've been watching Batman for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, because in my head, it's like none of them have done like, like the comparison, like, I'm trying to think of it, because like Jack Nicholson's Joker was so amazing and groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, there's no Batman or like, Heath Ledger as the Joker. Like, there's no performance of Batman that just makes me step back.
I guess not really. It's hard to do step out as Batman as opposed to Joker because you can be over the top of Joker. It's supposed to be like that. Batman's harder without being silly.
Like if I'm being honest, I think the Batman from the video games is like one of the best.
Because you just got the voice. The voice, you can't go wrong with the voice if you portray it. But live action Batman's harder because once you put the suit on, you're automatically one dimensional. And then when you start talking, there's not so much you can do without looking stupid because you're looking at someone in a costume. Joker is like Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson the Joker, and that's not a knock because I love Jack Nicholson. But Jack Nicholson was playing himself, which is not a bad thing because Jack Nicholson's over the top. But you couldn't do that with. You can do that with other characters. You can do that with villains. Superheroes are harder. Like good guys are harder because you don't want to just that fine line of being to the point. I'll say this is just corny as hell. I can't. This is dumb as hell. I can't do this. That's a fine line you have to go. And some people can get to the line and be good. Like George Clooney. I like George Clooney as an actor. He was a goofy ass Batman, and so was Val Kilmer. Nothing against them. I like them both as actors, but that was some booty.
Yeah, and like when I think about it with like Robert Pattinson, I'm just hoping it's like a really good performance.
That's the thing. I'm very like biased because the only thing I know Robert Pattinson from is the Twilight series, and I was not a big fan.
Yeah.
But I'm not a girl, so I wouldn't be watching anyway.
I've never seen him take on such a role this serious.
Yeah.
So, in my head, I think he's such a professional actor. He wouldn't have taken it if he wasn't prepared.
Yeah. True. I think.
And, I'll say, Jared Leto as the Joker, I don't like it. But his acting wasn't bad.
No.
I think he did, he was given a gangster Joker.
Yeah.
He did that one perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, nobody likes the art.
Yeah.
It's we like the Joker, it's good acting, we just don't like this concept.
No. I always say he's the Gucci Man Joker, and I don't know if you know who Gucci Man is, but he's
Yes. Oh, my God. He is the Joker, but a hype beast.
Yeah.
Just gold and supreme, and everything is weird and eclectic.
Yeah. And
completely.
That's what I look at when I saw him in Suicide Squad. I just like if Gucci Man became the Joker, that's exactly what he would look like. That's why I just call him Gucci. I just call him Gucci Man Joker. That wasn't a knock. Me and my cousins were talking about, and then I remember my younger cousin was he said he hated. He used to mention what's his name. So I like Gucci Man Joker. He started laughing. But I don't think you understand why I said that. But I remember saying to someone if Gucci Man got turned into Joker, that's exactly what he looked like. Batshit crazy.
Yeah. I'm just hoping with because I don't know, because I'm thinking about it, and it's, like, with Marvel and stuff, I like what they're doing with, like, their new movies.
Genius.
Like Black Widow.
Oh, yeah, if it ever comes out.
But also, like, I'm nervous that you can only go so far with the movies.
Yeah.
So, like, you can only go, so, like, you can't, like, Marvel can't make any more Iron Man movies.
No. That's why they need to go over. They need to move on and create other characters they're connecting, because the whole purpose, the Iron Man series, although it was the purpose of Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, they were the catalyst to be able to connect each other to create the new generation. And I love the fact that all the movies, and now you can be critical of some of their sequels in their movies or whatever. It's okay. Some are not as good as the other ones. But the thing about the Marvel franchise itself, the reason why it's superior to DC, because everything connected to the point to when it culminated with a big war. Everything mattered. It all mattered. Nothing matters in DC. They can do a 6-hour movie, but I don't give a shit. Because I don't care about these characters. They don't mean anything to me. It's not like, when Iron Man, when he struggled, for, like, he had a fear of all his friends dying. And then, the culmination of when Thor came down with the axe and planted in his chest, and Thanos' chest, who is a villain, a perfect villain who is not a one-dimensional cartoon villain. Everything he said was justifiable in his evilness. So when he snapped his finger, he didn't stand on a throne and laugh. He didn't brag. He retired. He retired and went to a small, like, world and started, like, growing crops. That's a perfect villain.
Living out his days.
Exactly. He saw it as a means to an end. So when they went back in time, got all the rings, everything like that, and all the rings, and they snapped their fingers and brought everyone back, and the big fight scene at the end, and like what's the name? Doctor Strange said, if I tell you, we're not gonna happen. Even that was more complex. Somebody broke that even down more complex. But when he said, you got one chance of 1,000, and then when he put the rings on and he snapped his finger and he brought everyone to life and he was dying, I cried every time I watched that scene.
Oh, I remember watching, because I went to the theaters to watch it. I remember, like, live reacting to it.
Yes.
When him pulling out the gauntlet, and we're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
Yeah, it was chaotic.
It mattered.
I think it's like, because God, that is like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, you had to be there. Because no way in hell, in a long-ass time, are we going to experience a movie with such a climactic scene that it literally has the entire movie theater on its feet.
Yes.
You won't experience that. God forbid. Like, the only other way you could experience that is if you saw the 7th episode of Star Wars, for God's sake.
Exactly.
But, like, there's no other franchise now that I could think of that's worthy enough of, like, doing that.
No, it hasn't. And it's like the Marvel, this version, and there's been, and keep in mind, there's been many versions of Marvel who attempted to do something that was trying to be culminating, but there was half-ass. And I love the X-Men movies, but they're goofy as hell because the timeline makes no sense. And they've tried to connect things to whatever. But I'm going to say, when they did the trailer for Endgame and they just showed Hawkeye standing in the rain and him pulling his mask off, I knew exactly what happened. He lost his family and he said, I'm going to kill everyone who got to live. I don't care. You can't do nothing. You cannot pay me. Because I remember the one Japanese Yakuza dude, he said, what do you want? He said, I want to punish you for my family didn't live and you lived. I'm ending you. And I'm like, oh my God. Even Black Widow, she suffered demons I didn't even think about. That she was trying to mend all the things she's done over the years before she joined the Avengers. There's so many complex things in those movies that you have to literally go back and like they have to frame by frame break things down that even when you watch it for the third, fifth time, you still don't see it. And it's that's why I would say Marvel did a great job.
Yeah. And it's just like, and people question how good, to work hard and make a good story. They're like, how can DC do it? I'm like, do what Marvel did.
Yeah.
Wait like 12 fucking years before,
yeah,
this, and then you'll make your money work.
Yeah, you can do it. You can, and to me, why I do not let DC off the hook. DC had on a silver platter the most iconic characters: Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, and some other people on a silver platter.
Yeah, I mean they have the most popular superheroes ever, but their movies are shit. Their movies don't compare to Marvel.
On a silver platter. Now, to me, it's like DC had the creme de la creme characters, and Avengers was basically dollar store characters. And I'm not knocking them. I like the movies, but the characters in the comic books were goofy as hell. Like Hawkeye looked dumb as hell. All that purple goofy shit. Falcon, he had bird rings. What? I didn't even care who Black Widow was. The only person I liked in Avengers was the Hulk. And they made the characters matter. They gave them personalities to where you cared. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy on paper sounds like nonsense, but it's funny. It's amazing. It was genius the way they told the story. That's why I don't give a shit what excuse that the DC uses. I don't want to hear it. You have it's like on a silver platter. How can you screw up Superman and Batman? I don't want to hear it. There's no excuse. I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, but it's going to be exciting to see the new reign of movies that come, because it's like, I'm trying to think, it's like, what now?
Yeah. I think they're gonna do something. I hope so. Did you I don't do you ever see do you ever see any of the King Kong or Godzilla movies of any kind of era?
I saw that one King Kong movie with Jack Black.
Oh yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty much my knowledge of it all.
You're not missing.
I know that it's old.
Yeah. It's several movies of incarnations. The one that I saw was a kid. I never saw the original claymation version, but the one I saw as a kid was a movie with Jessica Lange, and I don't remember. I think Chris Christopherson was the other leading person, and that was in the '70s version. I saw that one, and that's my culmination of the King Kong. I mean, I saw Jack Black one, of course, too, but I never paid attention to the plot of the movie. I didn't know it was a movie inside of a movie, apparently.
Okay.
Apparently, that's what it is. But I was watching King Kong versus Godzilla earlier. I got Amazon. I got HBO Max, so I watch it on my tablet because I have a hard time streaming on my TV. And I watched it. I'm not advising you to watch it if you don't really care much for King Kong or Godzilla movies. But if you have nothing to watch and you're bored, you should check it out at least once.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool though. Oh, and I never told you. Congratulations! I mean, how did the show? I mean, it was a day you had a show going on. How did that go?
Oh yeah, it went good. I mean, I didn't win anything, but I made money, which is good.
That's cool.
It was just fun.
That's cool.
I'm taking a break.
Okay.
From doing it because I just need to make more money.
Yeah.
Because drag is expensive.
Yeah.
But also, it's just, I need a mental break because drag is really just like, especially working in it.
Yeah.
It is a very stressful, it can be very stressful.
Hmm. I
But
can see that though.
yeah, so it should be. I mean, I got more stuff planning, and I'm not stopping my work. It's just I need spring break to be a spring break.
Yeah, take a break. You probably need to take a break anyway, if so you can come back again because you do a really good job. You're very talented. I mean, stuff I got to see you do, and I like your outfits are really cool. And like I like the fact that you do cosplay. That's why I was like, not Rogue. I almost had it. Not Solid. What is her name? I'm trying to think what her name is. That purple.
Junko?
It's the purple. The one I said it was all purple or whatever. Because Rogue is her.
Oh, can't remember her name,
That
but
is
I know
sad.
the girl who shapeshifts.
That is sad.
Jennifer Lawrence played her.
Yeah. I can't think of her name, but like, I would like to see if because in Captain Marvel, the next one, Rogue is supposed to be the villain.
Oh.
Because technically, Rogue stole Captain Marvel's powers. Because Rogue could fly in the comic books, and Rogue had super strength and all that kind of stuff. Because when the purple girl was like her mentor, pretending to be her mom, tricked her into stealing some kind of plane or something, and this is an animated comic. I'm sure it's the same in the comic book. It was a scuffle, and Rogue connected to Captain Marvel but couldn't let go, and somehow her psychic whatever, merged with her because she's in her inner psychic mind, her abilities whatever. So she has the abilities of Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel ended up being in a coma in the comic book. I never knew what the origin story of Rogue. I know half-assed version. I never read the full comic books. I never knew what the hell was going on. So I think that's going to be their way of kind of I don't want to say getting rid of Captain Marvel, but I think it's a way they're going to get rid of Captain Marvel for a while.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it's going to happen because do you have Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Did you watch WandaVision?
I did.
I think the what's the name character Wanda has the abilities when she crossed through Wanda's whatever. I think that she's going to take Captain Marvel's place at some point.
Possibly, because she is insanely powerful.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to be and I think it's where to go, and I also think it's how they're going to introduce X-Men, because they kind of alluded to the fact that what's the name Scarlet Witch was actually a mutant, which they said Scarlet Witch, and it's funny. I just assumed we all on board with it. I guess he never mentioned her name was Scarlet Witch. I just assumed they said it.
Oh. Well, see, for me, because I wasn't really a Marvel comic person, I was a DC comic person.
Yeah.
I only recently figured out her name was Scarlet Witch. I didn't realize it wasn't just Wanda. I was like, I just thought her name was Wanda.
Yeah. I just assumed they said Scarlet Witch. I guess I just already knew she was Scarlet Witch, and I just assumed they said it. And then when she said Scarlet Witch, I'm like, are we all on board? And I was real, they never said it. I just assumed they said it. But
yeah.
Did you watch the X-Men movies?
Yeah, I did.
This is an interesting thing, and like this was in did you ever watch the do you remember what is it Age of Apocalypse? Do you ever see not the second, not Dark Phoenix, but the one before Age of Apocalypse? You ever watch that?
I think so.
I know it's like, if you don't remember, it's not important if you do or you don't. But it's interesting because in both Age of Apocalypse and Avengers Age of Ultron, both Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in the movies But in the Age of Ultron version, Quicksilver dies, and what's his name? Age of Apocalypse.
Yes, I did. Okay.
Yeah.
I did watch it because I was trying to remember if that's the one where he dies.
Yeah, he dies in that one. But it's interesting because, in the Age of Apocalypse, Scarlet Witch technically gets killed in this one because in the Age of Ultron they're both roughly the same age, and and I always had this theory: the reason why the Scarlet Witch had died in Age of Apocalypse because they didn't want to have two versions of the same character, because one's portraying as a mutant and one's portraying as like they're the byproducts of Hydra. But they said that then someone said in an interview it had nothing to do with that. That was just having a coincidence. But I was convinced that they didn't want to use the rights of both of them because they don't say she's Scarlet Witch, but you know she is, and I mean she's Quicksilver's younger sister, and you know who he is. But they never actually say her. I don't think they even say her name. I think they may have said her first name, but I don't think they ever said her name. But you know who it is. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was trying to figure out because I've always been watching like Marvel and DC movies as a kid, and I really don't watch like the X-Men movies.
They're not very good
because I used to watch them with my stepdad as a kid.
They're competent, but they're not good.
They would just appear on FX, and we'd just be like, okay, and would watch the whole thing.
Pretty much, that's FX movies, but they're not. The timelines don't make any sense. That's my biggest gripe about them.
They're so terribly 2006.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good description. Yes, they are.
So terribly 2006. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they don't, and I'm gonna say, I'm from the era of when I'm grateful for any comic book movie to come out, and I'll watch any crappy movie because I was excited for anything to portray any comic book that I read. So my taste of them were probably pretty bad. And I loved the X-Men movies at the time because I have nothing to compare them to. At the time, they were amazingly visually effective, great stories. But when I go back, they say, don't make any sense. What time is this? Like, what year is it supposed to be? Y'all clearly don't. They don't clearly know themselves.
Yeah, and it's like, I felt that way too about the Infinity War Endgame timeline, because for a second I was like, why the hell is Peter Parker back at school? Isn't this 5 years into the future?
Yeah.
But then I realized that they could have just used the time machine and gone back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh. And also, speaking of the time machine in that movie, I think it's really smart that they just stated at the beginning that how the time machine works. Because if they just went with normal physics, it wouldn't, or like how we think time works, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. They addressed everything without being silly. They tried to address in the most realistic term. You can't change anything really that's always going to be effective. And even that, and not so much time, I got to say, Thanos by himself, he whooped everybody's ass. It has nothing to do with anything in the conversation, but I just can't get over the fact how badass Thanos was without the rings, without the gemstones. He was a badass dude without the gems, without the gauntlet itself. They had a hard time whipping his ass.
Yeah, he's fucking scary.
He was, other than Heath Ledger being the most evilest Joker villain, I have never seen a villain that I can honestly say in my entire time growing up watching or anything that portrayed a character that is so sinister, but you couldn't 100% hate him because he wasn't doing this for, and I'm going to say this is blasphemy, and I'm going to say it, I like his version of Thanos better than the comic books, because the comic book is goofy as hell.
Yeah.
I know it's blasphemy to say that because it's wrong to say. Normally, people don't say that the comic book version, the movie version is better, but he was better. Because Thanos.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
And like to be crass, but Thanos in the comic books was basically doing it for pussy.
Yeah.
And it was the most weirdest thing to say out loud because how goofy that sounds. You're the most powerful, one of the most powerful beings, and you doing it for a girl? I mean, it's death, but it was still a girl.
Yeah.
That's silly as hell. I don't know. It's just dumb.
No, it is. It is. Oh, the choices. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I feel bad because it's, like, you know, a lot of people put work into these movies.
Yeah, I know.
And here we're just sitting here, we're like, it sucks.
Yeah, I know.
That's the power we have.
Yeah, but it's okay. Our opinions matter, but I don't think it's going to change anything. Even if we said, I don't think that they're going to look at me and saying, well, we better work harder. I don't think we don't care. But it's like, it's constructive criticism. I don't really, if I hated a movie so much, I wouldn't go watch it. Let's put it that way.
And that's why, you know, dang. I was going to say something about the X-Men movies, because it's just, oh my god.
Yeah.
The 2000s quality, too.
Yeah, they look ugly.
It's that oh my god, the Transformers movies.
Yeah, they're
filter. Oh my god.
It's hard to watch.
I can't.
It gives you a headache. It gives you a headache.
And it's like, they're not bad movies, but they're so stereotypical. Like, I feel like this would be something playing on a TV in like a TV show.
Yeah.
Like depicting American TV.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily. It looks goofy. It's not visually appealing now.
I'm glad Marvel got past those and was like, yeah, we gotta not do that again.
I think it's also studios too. I think Universal or Fox Studios own the X-Men, and Universal owned Incredible Hulk, but now Disney owns both. So you'll see. Oh, they're gonna do. They're supposed to do a She-Hulk show at some point.
Oh, that's cool.
I think they're, and like, it's weird, and like, it's a weird thing to say. I mean, I can't say it. I'm trying to say it sound less creepy, but there's no way to say it uncreepy. But like, the She-Hulk in the 70s was ass ugly, but she was sexy as hell in the 90s. They made her a model. I think they did it by design because like the She-Hulk was basically Incredible Hulk with a wig, and I didn't like that version, but I don't know how to say it unless I can't say it uncreepy.
No, I get it. Because, see, now they're making the She-Hulk she's buffer.
Yeah. And like,
which I wish I wish they would just make her look like a female bodybuilder.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But that's what they're doing now, which is good.
Yeah, they're doing it, and like, and I think I grew up in an era that a lot of characters were sexualized, so a lot of it is from. It's like I hesitate to say things because it sounds creepier out loud than in my head, and I don't know how to say it uncreepy. But like, I remember they were doing a Space Jams movie, and like, Space Jam's not a very good movie anyway, but they're redoing it with LeBron James. But the female bunny that was the love interest of Bugs, they unsexualized her, and they made her basically a rabbit with, I don't know, eyelashes, but. I remember posting some on Facebook. It's like, I don't know how to say this uncreepy, but I thought the female bunny was hot, and everyone started laughing. I said, I can't say it. Well, it's hard not to say it less creepy.
I mean, Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think that's by design, because Jessica Rabbit was hot, too. And
yeah.
So was T'Challa. She was sexy, too. So weird to find a Catwoman attractive. Well, I guess I did, because I like Catwoman, so that's not far off.
See, that's when I, show, because people like to say that queer people push the culture into people's faces, when in reality,
No.
The sexualization of
was already there.
Like straight sexualization of stuff has always been there.
Yeah.
Like even as like a young kid, it's there.
Exactly. I mean,
it's just like it's our life.
Yeah, and it's not, and I think gay people get unjustly criticized for something that straight people we have some perversion stuff that is like beyond pervert, like pervy stuff that if you was to talk to a dude and ask him his fantasy, you'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Ooh, you may talk to a psychiatrist or something like that. Cause
yeah, some of them are a problem.
Because I can say this, and I can say this, and I remember, I will never tell. I've learned to not tell my girlfriend, because she asked me, what kind of porn do you like to watch? And I remember telling her a story, and she looked at me horrified. I said, I'll never do that again. Because
I don't answer that question.
I played it off as a joke, but the horror she saw when I told her the thing I watched one day, she looked horrified. I'm like, well, I won't say that again. I'm going to take that to my grave.
Y'all bitches are boring. Shush.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I would say if y'all were silent.
Mm. Because...
oh, no, you go. Sorry, I was just reacting.
Oh, it's okay. But no, if you go to any, pay-per-view site, and you look, and this is supposed to be straight porn. And keep in mind, this is supposed to be straight porn. The list of porn is stepbrother, stepsister, stepmom, stepdad. That means that a lot of people like incest. That's straight porn.
No.
That's straight porn. Because secretly, I think that some people like the fantasy of having a stepsister they can have sex with, as if the stepsister wants to fuck their brother. It's almost hilarious.
I've heard of that being a thing, and I'm like, y'all are weird.
Yeah, that's a thing, and it's a number one thing on there: step cousin, step brother, step whatever, and I can confess I've seen a few, and they make me laugh so hard because they're so funny.
I really do question my existence every day.
Because no one says step bro. No one says that.
It's a meme everywhere now.
Wow.
Those, videos of, hey, step bro. I know what you're talking about, but it just makes me question society more.
It is hilarious. And, you can go down. That's the problem. I think that's the problem with not admitting the desires you have, and then not admitting or being ashamed of what sexual desires makes people become repressed and frustrated. And it's and those people are the ones who are very vocal or saying how much they hate something, and they're so, angry.
Yeah.
And it's you have issues.
Usually the homophobe is a gay person
who's very angry, who hates themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I don't want to say, and there's and it's not I don't know how to say this because it sounds mean, but there are black people who hate other black people because they hate something in themselves, and they're very vocal. They're very judgmental.
I think I've seen those people before. This one girl on she went on Dr. Phil and Billy was like, I'm a member of the KKK, and I'm like, oh my god, what?
That's the thing, and it's but it's a thing in all society where there's so much obsession with skin color. There's also obsession with hair texture where you're not good. And I saw this documentary a long time ago. I found it on Amazon Prime, but I think I rented it or something. And across the world, it's amazing how skin color is a thing that is even touched around the world, where light-complected people are seen superior to dark-skinned people. they have bleaching creams in India and in many other countries. I'm like, why is that a thing? And it's so upsetting, the fact that some people hate their skin color so much they will damage it to keep from people seeing their dark skin complexion. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, funny you mention that, because I've had girls of like drag friends of mine tell me that because I am okay with working with black performers, that I will be discriminated against.
Wow.
And it's crazy to me, because I'm like, we're fucking gay people.
Yeah.
What the hell does that have to do with the price of rice in China?
I don't know.
I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you do. I'm living my life. You're living yours. Cool. I'm not going to judge someone just because they were born a certain way.
See, I don't understand it. It's weird. It's a thing that it's so complex for no reason. But I didn't realize that I did it myself as I get older, and I would hear myself saying things that, looking back, I kind of rolled my eyes, where I was very judgmental of my own. It's like, I don't want to say, I would say stuff like this. I would say, I can't date this girl. I'm too black to date this girl. I would say that out loud as it was funny. And I didn't realize I was being judgmental against my own self, because I didn't think that I thought it was too dark to date anyone that was lighter than me. I thought that they were superior. That's a weird thing to say. It sounds goofy as hell, but I used to believe that. So I have my own hang-ups. Like, I was very judgmental of my own self. It's a lot. It would take forever to even explain. That's just horseshit. I know it is now, but it took a long time to come to terms with that too. That I was judgmental of my own self.
Yeah, and the problem with that is just, it's just because racism is so deeply rooted.
It is.
Everyone has stereotyped someone. God, I catch myself being like,
it's very easy to do that.
Stereotypes in my head. It is, and people act like it's not a thing people do every single day. Even people who are, fully liberal and do not give a damn. But it's just stereotypes are so deeply rooted.
Yeah.
That they make you think that.
Exactly.
You don't, vocally talk about it. That's fine, but you think of it because
that's something deep in your mind that you don't think about, and you find yourself doing it. There's super liberal people who think that they're so, what's the name? I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say woke because I hate that word. They're so liberal that they can go to the point of insult. Yeah, they can insult someone without even trying. Like, they think they're doing a compliment. They'll say something like this: "You don't judge that black man. He is a poor, defenseless black man. He can't help himself. That he was born in poverty." It's like, bitch, you insulted him yourself. What are you doing? He didn't say he was poor. Why are you putting that stuff on him? They're good about that stuff. They can be condescending without even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh man, this.
People are irritating.
I love it. Thank you. I love this conversation. It is so much fun.
Of course. Yeah, no, this was fun. It was nice to talk about comic books this time.
Because when I first interview, I don't like to interview. When I first got to talk to you, I thought, this is the coolest person. And
thank you.
And in the beginning, and I should find out how old people are before I start talking. I'm not saying you're a kid, but I'm older than you. So when I was talking at first, I was kind of hesitant to say certain things because, even though you're 18, you're an adult, I'm still older than you, and I don't want to be weird or say anything crazy, even though I know you've been through things that was so amazingly shocking that I'm like, what the fuck? When you told me that guys would hit on you knowing that you're a guy, asking you have a husband, and I was like, what, are you all dolled up? I said, no, they were very aware I'm a dude.
I mean, like, I've got stories. I mean, for God's sake, this is such a terrible joke. I say my hooking days were like 14 to 15 years old. Like, I grew up really fast.
Yeah.
And I just had to because of the situation that I was in. Just like a personal life situation that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
But, with that came with a lot of bad stuff. And I'm grateful that I am the way I am today. And I'm, like, proud of it.
Yeah.
But the person I was then and what I had to go through was terrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm glad that I'm, like, this educated today, and, like, I'm not saying I know everything, but
you've been through
I know more than the average high schooler.
Yeah, you've been through some stuff. I'm glad. It sucks that you went through the things you went through, but the fact if you can come to the other side and be stronger, because it's not an easy thing, and I would never, I would never compare my life to yours. I would never do that because it's very insulting. And I grew up in a foster care environment, and there was a lot of things that were not cool growing up, and I'm not upset because I think when I started acknowledging the fact that I actually was abused, and it took me a long time to actually admit that out loud because I was ashamed because I always felt that I was the person that, even though I was a little kid, I thought that I was instigating it, which doesn't make any sense. It's insane how someone who is abused will justify the person who is the predator on me and say that I almost was asking for it. It's insane that I would say that as growing up, but I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't get the help I needed as a kid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And see, like, I don't, all of our experiences are different. I am a gay white man. You are a black man who is preferably heterosexual.
Yeah.
We will experience that completely different, and that's why it irritates me, because people compare way too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't it not fucking obvious? Like, stop asking the question, who has it worse?
Yeah.
Let's just start fixing this shit.
Who wants to win that race?
I understand that all of it is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there are some that are priority, like BLM, like, let's get on that shit.
Yeah.
But, like, they're all important issues.
Exactly.
And we can't tackle, one at a time. But we also need to address them all.
Exactly. It's like everyone wants to want to win the suffering award. Like, what are you winning at the end? Why do you want to be higher? And, like, there's nothing gained. We should be on the other side. How can we overcome all these horrific things? How can we change things so people should not be getting killed? No gay man or transgender or anyone should be in fear or danger because some psychopath was afraid that he saw a penis, which clearly you was on board 2 seconds ago when you were going down on this person, that a realization came that he feared he might be gay, even though you were attracted to the woman, so that doesn't constitute anything, even as you're attracted to this person. But the fear of anyone finding out made them so crazy. And some people some people are just monsters. Let's just say that. Some people are just plain monsters because they prey on, they pretend to be gay to set someone up to jump them or something. I don't know. It's horseshit.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah, no, people are crazy, but, we just gotta keep working. This fight won't be over for a long time, and not probably till the next generation, but if I can be a helping hand in it, hell yeah.
I think you're very important. I think that what you do is very important. I think you're very gifted, and I'm glad that I got to know you. I'm glad I get to know you. And I think you're a really cool person. And I'll never get tired of saying it because you educated me on something that I would have never asked because let's be honest, I'm always afraid of offending someone because I don't know how to ask anyone, I don't like asking women questions about women issues because it's, to me, I've always seen as someone come off as condescending without even trying.
Yeah. To like help with that, I would just tell people like, hey, I'm being very serious. I'm honestly asking this question. Like, just address that.
Yeah, I'm getting better with that.
Because that will get people into a serious, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting better with that. I'm like, and I think what helped is me doing this podcast, and I've gotten to interview and talk to people that I would have never talked to on a regular basis because, a lot of people, we're all far apart from each other and still next to each one and not know how to spark up a conversation and have a conversation with just small talk is awkward, but just to have a real conversation with basically talk about any issues is even more complex because some people are very sensitive. Some people have been through a lot of stuff and they don't know where the person's coming from. Because I'm a person, I like to pride myself as not hot-headed, but sometimes when people are talking to me, I don't know if they're being dicks or not.
Yeah, I could get that.
Yeah.
Well, what a fun conversation.
It is. And I really appreciate this, and like hopefully down the line we get to talk again because I love talking to you. You're an awesome person.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
And hopefully I get to see you again, but I guess I'll be signing out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'll always be back.
Oh, definitely.
And then, yeah.
But I hope you have a good evening. I hope you get some needed rest and just chill for a little while. And I hope to see you in another like cosplay outfit or something like that because I think it'd be cool. Cause I'm at least on Facebook comment and tell you how awesome it looks and everything.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm working on some stuff right now that's actually some like boy characters, so I'm pretty excited to show them.
Okay, that's cool. That's all right. All right. Well, I'll see you later.
Awesome. See ya. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. That was Noah, a very awesome performer who was nice enough to allow me to interview him, and very gifted performer. Just all around, just amazing. And this was probably the best one so far I've done. I'm very proud of this one, and actually the longest one I've done too so far. And hopefully, I'll get to talk to this person again. But for now, I'm signing off, and I am going to do zombie sound effects.